Naraka Saratika Saraninya Maka. Welcome. Karaka Saraninya Maka Siki. Welcome, dear soul. Soretaka Saraninya Maka Saratikinya Maka. To a wonderful episode, Sarataka Saraninya Maka. That might be a little bit different from the rest. Sarataka Saraninya Maka. So let's take a deep inhale through the nose. Expand your belly, close your eyes if that feels safe for you. Exhale through the mouth. And again, deep inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Good, last time. Deep inhale through the nose and hold the breath. Relax the muscles of the shoulders. Relax the muscles of the face. And exhale whenever you're ready. Welcome, welcome. I'm really excited to be in this space with you. And there's a few changes that are actually taking place in my work and in the podcast. Before we go into that, though, today's episode will be about surrendering to the changes. And I'm laughing because, I'm going through that. And at the same time, we're all going through that. Change is something that is a constant thing in life. You're not the same person that you were yesterday or last week. There's so many shifts in consciousness that just really doesn't allow us to be in the same space. And Susan's saying hi again, by the way. So anyways, this change. The changes that, let me just talk about the changes that are happening, and then we'll go into the actual transmission itself. So the changes that are happening in the podcast and in my work is that I've been called to sit more with medicine and to lead more plant medicine ceremonies. So I've been sitting with a lot with my teachers, rapé, as well as cacao and some herbs. See how that goes, which is going lovely, by the way. And I had really had this call to share about my experience, share about my process, to give more of an inspiration. I really believe that the way that we communicate our stories can just be this remembrance to somebody else that is going deeply through something very similar to our story. And so, I think I was waiting for the perfect time or something, and it just quote unquote never happened. But this is a time of doing it, especially as I step more into my calling to lead plant medicine ceremonies even more than before. So here we go, transmission, surrendering to the changes. Let me tell you something. I am a person that I really like my routine, but there's always moments to let things flow, just like let things flow. And then that is because having these abilities, I had been just like out there in the ethers for so long in this existence. And the moment that I learned to root myself is the moment that I was like, oh, wow, I do need these practices in order to stay in this lifetime and to enjoy it, not to miss it. And that was Suze. and so, I was very consistent with my practices, and at the same time, it's because I deeply love them, honestly, and they just like showed me something about myself that I wasn't really being able to see without them, really. And what I'm talking about is my morning practices of Kundalini yoga and asana practice, like what we normally call yoga practice, right? And I had I had been practicing Kundalini yoga since 2016. That's when I did my first Kundalini yoga teacher training. I mean, that's like 7 years, and it pretty much has been the consistency in my morning practice. Just doing it the very first thing after brushing my teeth in the morning before breakfast. And And I realized that there were moments where I just kind of stopped. I cannot tell you, maybe it's actually laziness. I don't know. Or maybe it's this ego, spiritual ego that's like, oh, I got it. I figured it out. That I stopped doing it. And that's when my energies will just go like, "Wah." And so then I knew, it's like, okay, this is like the one thing that it really resonates with me in the morning. So let's do it. So even if I will wake up like super tired or just like quote unquote running out of time in the morning, I will just do it, even a short meditation of Kundalini yoga if I needed to, or Kundalini practice. And so I had been going through the shifts, since even before the last full moon. And my body just asked me to be in stillness, to relax, and honestly did it in a really fantastic way that I didn't have any other option. Yeah. And it was that I started feeling again like I had felt before years ago when I had to get a blood transfusion as an emergency because my iron levels were like 4, which when I got to the emergency room, like the doctor was like, you could have died. I was like, oh, I didn't know that was that serious. But of course, it wasn't just something that like happened instantly. It was something that just happened for years upon years because I used to also be anemic as a kid. And which is kind of funny, most people think like, oh, you have to eat meat and not be anemic. I mean, I used to eat a lot of meat, as a kid, because my parents fed me. But anyways, and so I started to feel that way, not in the intensity, because I will like wake up and feel already tired. And I'm a pitta, so I have a lot of fire in me. So I love to like be doing things. So it will be a challenge just to like walk to the kitchen and make breakfast for me and Zeus. And then after breakfast, I will have to like go lay down again. And even during breakfast, just like being sitting, like almost like leaning on the table, like, eating so slow. It was like, whoa. So first I just let my body rest. And then I was like, okay, no, like this is like too similar to that. And I'm just in a way worried, because that was a very intense period of my life, like getting a blood transfusion, the whole deal. So I went to get a blood test, and it wasn't my iron levels, but it's the one thing that absorbs iron, ferritin or something like this. I might be saying it wrong because when I heard it, I was like, okay, am I hearing it right? And so, it began to change things, right? And throughout the process, it has been almost like 2 weeks, honestly, or 2.5 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. Throughout that, I was like sitting with psilocybin, and even the medicine was like, eat seafood. It's good for you. No meat, no chicken, no pork, eat seafood. I was like, okay, I got it. And then just really relaxing because I didn't have any other option to relax, and I was grateful that the sessions that I had with clients were like days like after, more towards the end of the week, so I could actually rest at the beginning of the week. And so it was very good. And then I received this message last Thursday. So right now we're Tuesday. And it was with Cacao. And she told me that it was time to really dedicate my life to plant medicine, to lead ceremonies, and to make that one of the priorities in my work. And I was so excited because I've been feeling this call for so long, right? But like I wasn't pushing it. I was like, all right, like when it comes, and my teachers have been in medicine. And I haven't really had like a physical teacher yet in a way with this. I listened to what the medicine says, and that's what I do, and I let the medicine do the work through me. So, and it feels so good. It feels so good because, I mean, I feel so alive when I hold space in medicine circles. I just feel like that's my calling, you know? Not that what I'm doing right now or what I was doing specifically, just holding sessions and space for people through their awakening process in yoga, meditation, whatever, you know, no, that doesn't feel good, you know, like, of course it's really good. Otherwise I wouldn't do it. And it's very rewarding to see the change and the shift on somebody, but like, but there's something so much special about plant medicine. And so I changed my whole routine in the morning. After 7 years, no joke, after 7 years of waking up and practicing Kundalini yoga, now my morning practice is to sit with rapé. So I'm not sure if all of you really know what rapé is. I did do a little video on my social media pages. The rapé is a mixture of a sacred tobacco called mapacho, which is completely different than the tobacco that is in cigarettes and cigars. This comes from the rainforest of Peru and Brazil. And it's mixed with other sacred plants. And you take it through the nose. You know, there's a specific applicator for like personal use, and there's another applicator to give it to somebody, right? And so I've been sitting with rapé. It's a mixture of rapé and cacao. Hello, mommy cacao. Since Thursday. And it's been wonderful. It's been wonderful. Like I could feel this tiny, like 0.001% in me that it's like, whoa, we're not doing Kundalini yoga. We're gonna do it at night, which that night I did a little bit at night, but then I haven't touched it. That doesn't mean that I don't honor it. And if you're looking at the video, you know, you can definitely see Lord Shiva and Shakti, you know, and Lord Shiva is very important in the Kundalini yoga tradition, as well as Shakti anyway. And so like, and I still honor that as part of me, you know, but like it feels so good to create this change in my world and surrendering to the changes in my life, realizing that the changes are all the time, that I'm not the same person that I was last night. And I'm not the same person that I was this morning when I woke up. Trust me, because I went through a really deep process of mourning. Which is wonderful, you know, the medicine is guiding me, the medicine is cleaning me, the medicine is teaching me, you know. And so again, there's no this fear of me on holding on to like a practice that at this moment in time is now serving me in a way, in the deepest way that the medicine is serving me, right? And what I've been doing, like I said, I was sitting with rapé and also sitting with cacao even more, and also herbs, because I also work with herbs. And this really takes me into like that really deep trust and surrender, because then cacao reminded me this morning of how challenging it used to be for me to surrender. And this is a process, honestly, that I believe we all go through that. Maybe not all of us, but most of us. And so like she reminded me of that. She remember how you were there. And like I was a freaking mess, honestly. Even though like I was trusting so deeply, I still had a lot of fucking fear. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna surrender to this because it really feels very good. And I know that life has my back. I can feel that now, but that doesn't mean that I'm not scared, you know? That doesn't mean that I'm not like, what the fuck is going on? Because I was, trust me, I was. And then she like showed me again where I am in my life. And there was nothing about that, you know? I was like, okay, this is what we're doing. Great. And it feels so good because I've been waiting for this moment. I know it was coming, you know, and I deeply trust rapé. I deeply trust cacao, and I deeply trust all the herbs and all the medicine that I work with, including psilocybin. And so then, you know, I was like, wow, that's true, right? Because the more that we dive into this journey, the more that like fear does not like live so deeply in our systems, you know? I'm rereading this book called The Mastery of Love by Don Miguel Ruiz. And this book, I remember reading it in Colombia in Spanish, which that's how it was written first, you know, in Spanish. And I was like, wow, it just blew my mind. Like it made so much sense, you know? And one of the things that like he talks about this book at the beginning of the book is that like most humans, or like pretty much every human lives in a state of fear in some kind of level or of another, and says that that's not a real state. The real state is love. And of course, like there's many layers of that, and I'm thinking like, of course it's gonna be challenging, if we're coming into this experience when there's already a super big collective like fear of like many other things, and then people are telling you, don't do this, if not this is going to happen, or don't do that, or blah, whatever, like of course it's going to be challenging to let go of fear in general, because it's been in our system for who knows how many years of this existence. And so just remembering like, wow, like having compassion for ourselves, because again, that's the constant thing in life, is change, is shift. And the more that we can surrender to that, the more that we can just let our life really expand, and the messages just come through so like easily, and just live the life that we're meant to live. Because had this whole deal with my blood levels had not happened, I probably wouldn't have rested the way that I did. And this is also what Cacao told me this morning. You needed that rest in order to clear your whole system and be present with all the messages that we needed to give you. Because I was so much like doing a lot of work, putting myself out there and the whole deal, that I was missing that part of myself of just being in stillness, being with medicine, and literally listened, deeply listened. And I'm learning a completely new level of like patience, a completely new level of stillness and listening. And so, my gift for you, or my invitation for you through this podcast, is that you trust yourself. And, at times, like I hear people saying like, it's easier said than done. I feel that if we say that consecutively in our minds, we're going to believe that it is. But I also go back into the words of Don Miguel Ruiz, that he says, we're not fear, we are love. And love is always expanding, and love is always flowing. When we go from that state, that is easier to surrender. It's easier to trust, because then we're not in the clouds of the collective and the fear and the pointing fingers and being jealous and whatever. We're just in this massive expansion of love, trusting that we're doing the right things, trusting that we are super provided for, trusting that something bigger than us has our backs. And it's leading us, even in the moments that we feel that we cannot walk. I'm not sure if you have had those experiences, but in my life, I had those times where I don't even know how I was walking. And now when I look back in it, it was my guides. It was the life and love of like life itself and the earth that were just like, I got you. It's okay. You can move forward. It's okay. Because there have been times in my life where I moved forward with so much fear. And of course, like going back again to this like big cloud of like fear in the collective, like have compassion for yourself, because you are really breaking through all that shit. We are breaking through all that shit because we feel inside. I know that you feel inside that there's something greater than what you've been actually doing in your life. I felt this as a little kid, since I looked at it, like watched this thing on TV about Mother Teresa, and I was like, yes, whatever she's doing in my own way, that's what I feel I'm gonna do. That's what I feel, it's my calling. And it is, it has been, and it has been evolving again. It's not like business stays like the same, whether it's this kind of business in the spiritual world. I don't just want to call it spiritual world, because I mean, we're all spiritual beings, like the kind of like work that I do, right? With like working in a hotel or working in a car rental place or whatever it is, right? I mean, like things shift. You got to change things. You got to make a store more inviting, right? Or the cars change, so you're gonna change things in like in the software system on a car place, rental car place, if you work in one of those or own one, right? So like something is always shifting, and the most important thing that shifts us is you. Think about, again, like before you had a big process, like you were not the same person after the process. You were lighter, you were more expensive, you could actually trust yourself even more. Yeah. So think about those moments when you are like, oh, can I trust this? And it doesn't really change the fact that maybe you will feel fear, and that's okay. But if you continue to move forward in the path where you have been chosen and that you chose, that your heart is leading you, your whole being is like, this is it, this is it. And if you go in it with like arms wide open, heart wide open, and like fully trusting, not even knowing where you're heading, because that's the unknown, right? I'm not even sure what I'd be heading into this plant medicine journey, but I deeply trust my teachers, and what I mean by my teachers, again, is the medicine. I deeply trust them, because every time that I surrender to psilocybin, every time that I surrender to ayahuasca, every time that I surrender to cacao, to rapé, and all the herbs I work with, it's like, whoa, it's like I couldn't have imagined that. I couldn't have imagined that. And they are such a deep, they are such a deep alliance in this planet, because they carry the whole consciousness of this planet. They do. They come from the earth, and they're super connected, which means that they are a big portal of remembrance. Who am I to not trust the wisdom that lives without that consciousness? Yes, baby. Saying hi? Yeah. You see, even Susa agrees. So, whatever it is meant for you will come for you. There's no need to like be freaking out about it, right? The only way that it might not really come in a direct way towards you is if you're not present. If you're so much in the mind and go, 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 but it will always find a way to you. It will always find a way to you. So allow the shift to happen. You are in your journey of awakening, of remembrance. That's a shift in itself. That's a change, Like trusting that journey, for me, is one of the greatest gifts in life. It's one of the greatest gifts. And you're doing it. You're doing it. It might not be easy at times. Trust me, even in my journey, it's like, whoa, okay, but you're doing it. And that is a celebration in itself. You're doing it, which means that you have the courage, which means that you do trust. Yeah. Let me repeat that. It means that you do trust because you're doing it. And it means that you do surrender. See? Simple. So I'm really excited to share this part of my process with you, this part of my life, this part of my offerings, but which are changing, and I will be sharing on the equinox, which is next Monday, the 20th of March, what my offerings are. And I feel so humble. I feel so honored that the medicine chose me and I chose the medicine. And then we have this bond that, beyond beautiful and divine. And I trust, and I know that there's something here for you too in this life, and that you feel it. You feel it. Go for it. Go for it. And you know that whatever resonates from these transmissions, let it resonate. What doesn't, doesn't. If it doesn't feel good for you to go for it, don't go for it, But if you feel it in your being that it's like, yes, this is it, this is it. It's so fucking scary, but this is it. Then, you know, that's it. All right, dears. Love, 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 many blessings. And may this equinox be the greatest yet of this existence. Blessings, 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 and ciao.